If you grew up in the NES era, there's a good chance Kid Niki Radical Ninja flew completely under your radar. No Nintendo Seal hype, no mascot status, no Saturday morning cartoon. And yet, it came from one of the most respected arcade developers of the 1980s, Irem, the same studio behind R-Type. Today on Classic Pixels Gaming, we're diving deep into Kid Niki Radical Ninja on the NES. Its arcade origins, who actually made it, how it plays, how it's sold, and why it's become one of the most overlooked action platformers of the 8-bit era. Before it ever landed on the Nintendo Entertainment System, Kid Niki began life in the arcade. The original game, Kaiketsu Yancha Maru, released in 1986 in Japan, was developed entirely in-house at Irem. This was during the studio's golden age, a time when they were experimenting wildly with genres, art styles, and gameplay mechanics. Unlike many arcade titles focused on realism or sci-fi, Kid Niki leaned hard into Japanese folklore and humor, including Edo-era enemies, cartoonish villains, and a chibi-style ninja protagonist. This gave the game a unique identity that stood apart from the military shooters and space games flooding arcades at the time. Kid Niki wasn't the product of a single famous name. It was a classic Irem team effort, built by developers who worked across multiple projects. While Irem didn't heavily credit individual staff in that era, many of the same developers moved between games like Moon Patrol, Kung Fu Master, and Spartan X-style action titles. This is important. Kid Niki wasn't some outsourced cash-in. It was a carefully designed arcade game, later adapted for home consoles. When Kid Niki came to the NES in 1987, it wasn't a one-to-one arcade conversion. The NES version expanded stage layouts, added more structured platforming, adjusted difficulty for longer home play sessions, and introduced tighter controls. Combat revolves around spinning shuriken attacks, with upgrades that increase range and power. The mechanics are simple, but surprisingly responsive, especially compared to other early NES action games. What really stands out is the visual personality, which features huge enemy sprites, expressive animations, and bright, readable color palettes. This is peak mid-generation NES design, confident, bold, and instantly recognizable. Kid Niki sits in a sweet spot between arcade challenge and NES accessibility, where enemies swarm aggressively, bosses are pattern-based, and power-ups reward exploration. It's tough but rarely unfair, a rarity for games with arcade DNA. However, the lack of save systems or passwords means longer sessions demand real commitment, which may have limited its appeal to younger players at the time. Commercially, Kid Niki was a moderate seller, not a blockbuster as it was released during a crowded NES market. There was no established mascot appeal to lean on, and it was largely overshadowed by Nintendo and Capcom's heavy hitters. Critically, it was praised for its tight controls, visual charm, and solid arcade-to-console adaptation. But without strong marketing or a franchise push in the West, Kid Niki quietly faded, despite receiving sequels in Japan. Today, Kid Niki Radical Ninja is remembered as a cult NES platformer and serves as a showcase of Irem's versatility. It's a reminder that great games didn't always become classics. It's the kind of title you discover decades later and ask yourself, how did I miss this? And that's exactly why it deserves to be remembered. If you enjoy uncovering forgotten gems like Kid Niki, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell. Until next time, thanks for watching Classic Pixels Gaming.